What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the second annual Dom and Pop DC Sports Talk Plus podcast mock draft episode. You already know what it is, draft season. We're getting right into it, breaking down picks 1 through 16 and maybe beyond. If the Commanders trade back, you'll have to stick around to see. Let's get right into it.
Woo!
Pop, how you doing, man?
Doing good.
Let's get right into this, man. Draft season. You guys heard the intro. You already know what it is today. Don't have to ramp it up. No ownership talk. No Chase Young 5th-year option talk. Getting straight into the draft this week. You guys already know what it is. It is that time of year. Lying season in full effect. All kinds of crazy stuff happening since the last time we talked about it. So, I mean, should we do the buzz first, or you want to do the draft? How you feeling, Pop? What do you do? You want to do the draft, the buzz as we draft, or what do you think?
Do a little bit of a lead-in. What do you
A
hear?
little bit of a lead-in. So the big story right now, CJ Stroud, the consensus Dom and Pop #1 overall pick, taking a nosedive down the draft. Well, in the last draft episode, the unofficial draft episode we did, we're sitting here both going, yeah, there's absolutely no way. It looks like CJ Stroud is a guarantee at this point. Taking a nosedive down draft boards. People are very off on him. You're starting to hear some of those, I guess the cognitive scores are coming back. There's conflicting reports as to how bad those might have been. You got him talking about how he hates playing Madden because he feels like it's not realistic. You got him talking about, people doing the Ohio State narrative about the offense that they run there and how it's not conducive to quarterback succeeding in the NFL. All kinds of stuff. CJ Stroud taking a nosedive down draft boards right now. And I mean, by nosedive, he's probably still going in the top 5, top 10, but you never know. Things are getting crazy. What do you make of
some of the
that?
buzz is that Houston may not take a quarterback at all at number 2, which would be pretty wild. I don't know what to make of it. Honestly, I think it's such a gamble when you take these quarterbacks early, and they all have question marks. But it is amazing how it just felt like things were a lock with CJ Stroud and the Panthers, and then now, it's really shifted. Like I said, I really don't know what to think.
Yeah, and I mean, who knows what? It's that time of the year, right? So who knows what's real and what's not true. Maybe the Panthers are still thinking CJ Stroud at #1 and they're trying to put out the buzz that they're going for Bryce Young, hoping that maybe the Texans are just in love with Bryce Young and they want to jump ahead of him, or maybe the Colts want to get in there or something like that to go get Stroud. Who knows, right? It's all over the place. I remember seeing some conflicting reports about Frank Reich being interested in Anthony Richardson at #1, but the front office in Carolina is sold on Stroud, or was sold on Stroud at the time. And I remember going, okay, it's probably BS. But now you see all of a sudden everybody's talking about Bryce Young. He's canceled all his meetings with everybody else. Maybe they said, hey, let's go with the safest option. Bryce Young seems to be, I mean, by all accounts, the best quarterback available. I think everybody can kind of agree on that. Seems to be the guy. So, yeah, it's getting weird. This is
What do you
building
think
up
about
to some good drama.
What kind of weight do you put on these intelligence tests that they give these kids? I mean,
I don't know. It's hard. I mean, I have a few thoughts on it. It reminds me a little bit of what we talked about when I was going to school, and you were like getting an A in. Because I was like, Dad, a calculus test is stupid. I'm never going to do this. Why do I need to know calculus? This is a waste of my time. And you said getting an A on your calculus test doesn't show that you're good at calculus. It shows that you have discipline, and it proves that you can sit down and dedicate yourself to something even if it's not that important or whatever, and you can learn it. It shows your adaptability. So I feel a little bit of that with these tests, but on the other side of it, football is not played on a Scantron. And the things that make Mahomes so incredible. A guy like Jalen Hurts so incredible. A guy like Aaron Rodgers in his time so incredible. It's not that. It's not the stuff that you can play on the paper. It's the instinct, and it's
Right.
the ability to when the world is crumbling around you, when the pocket's collapsing, when the game is on the line and you have 12 seconds left. It's that ability that changes it. So I don't put a ton of weight. I don't put a ton of weight into it,
Yeah.
honestly.
Yeah.
It's kind of a little bit of both.
I think it's similar to the story you told, right? I think when you don't perform well on a test, how much of it is effort or how seriously you take in. There's controversy about him skipping, uh, the camp there. I mean, I don't know. It's crazy how these things tend to happen right before a draft. But I say we get into it. I say we
Yeah,
make these picks.
let's do this. Let's make these picks. This is our heavily researched and prepared for mock draft. I'm expecting I should be hitting on at least a you know 70 or 80% clip here. I think I'm going to
There you
absolutely
go.
nail this here 1 through
There you
16.
go.
So pick
So
number one.
want to set it
I,
up? How we're doing this?
so we're going to alternate, I assume, right?
Yeah.
That's how we've
So
done it in the past. We're going to do it again this year. So I guess, are you going to start with number one, or you want me to start?
I'm gonna do the odds. You do the evens. So I'll start with number one. So you get that
All right. So
vaunted number 16 pick.
you
You
get
get to
that
pick for the
freebie.
Commanders. I'm
You
letting you
get
pick
that
for the
freebie on
Commanders.
number one. I see how this goes. All right.
No,
Do it.
I'm letting
I
you
like it.
pick for the Commanders.
I like it. I like it.
Always trying to
I like
start some stuff.
it.
All right,
Go
I'm
ahead.
gonna
Go
get
ahead.
going here. I was thinking about maybe trying to put a wrench in the works, but I guess I'll just stick with what seems to be the consensus, and I'll go with the first pick in the 2023 NFL Draft. The Carolina Panthers pick Bryce Young.
Yes, sir. Short Kings, rise up. Love it. Number two. It already gets hard here. Number two with Houston.
It does.
They're even going to stay there. But I'm going to go with. I'll do CJ Stroud number two to the Houston Texans. I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna say
Stick with it.
this slide is not existent.
All right. I like it. I like it. So at number three, seems like the consensus here as well, making this top three easy, but Will Anderson from Alabama,
No
you
trade.
know, no no trade. What are you talking about?
You don't think Carolina trades or not?
We're
Excuse
not
me,
doing
Arizona trades
trades.
that
We're
pick. We're
not
not
doing
doing trades.
trades.
Okay.
Come on. I mean, my head will explode. But great edge rusher. A lot of people have this kid rated as number one prospect in the draft. Quarterbacks always tend to rise to the top. So I
Yeah.
think that'd be one of those, or Arizona just sprints to the podium if Will Anderson is still there. Houston could end up stealing him given the latest feelings here. But I go Will Anderson number three for the
Cool.
Cardinals.
Number four, I think a guy that has been flying up draft boards was sliding, but is now flying up draft boards after these cognitive tests. Uh, Will Levis to the Indianapolis Colts. That seems to be. It just is such a textbook Ursay pick, and they seem to be in love with him. Reports are coming out that he is the apple of their eye. He's all over them.
Well, they need a QB, and they've been
Yeah.
been swinging and missing with the veterans. So
So I
um,
got Will Levis there at number
makes a lot
four.
of makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Um, so Seattle now, what do they do? I mean, there's talk of Richardson going in this spot. Um, I'm gonna stick with Jalen Carter in this spot
Interesting.
for out of Georgia.
I like it. I like it. That is so you're going the conservative approach. You're saying they got Geno, they're committed to Geno, they're not thinking about building for the future. They're thinking
Yeah,
about right
I
now.
we talked about this before. I just don't get signing Geno to that contract and then drafting a quarterback in that spot. I could see them maybe drafting somebody, later in the draft, a bit more of the project kid out of Tennessee, maybe, but not at the number 5 spot.
Yeah.
My personal
So
opinion.
had this is where things get interesting because I do think if Anthony Richardson starts to fall into this kind of place, we're going to see some teams maybe try and make some moves. But if we're going to stay away from doing trades,
I mean, Detroit
Detroit.
could go. Detroit's next at number 6. They could go quarterback.
I was just about to say I'm going to pick my third quarterback off the board. I'm going to go Anthony Richardson. I think Jared Goff's contract is kind of coming to an end, and obviously we kind of know where that guy's ceiling is. They say they're
Makes
committed to
sense.
him, but if Richardson's available, you got to take a swing there.
Well, also he's got that vet in front of him that's able to, he doesn't have to start right away, right? So
Yeah,
I like it. I think it makes a
exactly.
lot of
Yes,
sense.
I go there because you look at Detroit top to bottom, they got a really good team. And you plug an elite quarterback in there, they could make a run in what is a pretty weak NFC.
All
So
right.
I
So we're
think it
getting
makes sense.
intense here now. We're getting intense, getting a little bit.
Starting
So
to get
who's at
dicey
number
for the boys
7?
here.
Number 7 is the
The
Raiders.
Raiders, yeah.
Number 7 is the Raiders. Let's see here. I'm gonna give a little bit of thought. I got some time on the clock. Do they go? There's a couple of corners. They seem to be on the cornerback. I'll go with Christian Gonzalez out of Oregon, cornerback for the Raiders.
Oh, that's my boy. Yeah, I was hoping he was gonna make it to this is the Chris Olave of this year's draft. I was hoping he was gonna be on the board for us at 16, and it looked like it early, and he's just been steadily climbing. So I
Rising,
don't think he'll be available for us. But yeah,
rising.
I love that kid. Very talented. So you got him as the first cornerback off the board going to Vegas, huh?
I do.
Very cool.
Deep
So that leaves
research. I was
us.
breaking down film into the wee hours of last night.
Of course. Yeah, of course. So that brings us to pick number 8 with the Atlanta Falcons. This gets interesting here. I'm going to do it. I'm going to go Bijan here. So
Oh,
I'm only drafting big names right now so far. But I'm going Bijan. They love to pound the rock
all right.
down in Atlanta. Run first team. They've got what's his face, Desmond Ritter down there. I don't think, and at this point, there's no quarterbacks left. But yeah, I think they go Bijan, and Patterson's getting old. You don't really know what you have in Algier and some of those other guys. Bijan's just too good. I think they go best player available.
All right. So what we got at 9? We got Chicago, right?
Yep.
Chicago's next at number 9. Let me just go check my board. Who's best available at this point? Yeah, I'm going to say they're going to stay close to home. Pick offensive tackle Peter Skoronsky out of Northwestern.
There you go.
How do you like that, Dominic?
There you go. I like it. I like
Get
it.
the big boy. Get a big boy off the board.
I like it. That is strong. Lord knows they need it. Lord knows they need it out in Chicago. That line is horrible.
So
Um,
your beloved Eagles are next at number 10.
so yeah, number 10, my beloved Eagles. Where the hell does that come
I
from?
like, see, try to get a rise out of you.
That's crazy. Put that on me. That's insane. Number 10, we got the Eagles. Could go a few different ways here, but I think I'm going to go now. I don't think the draft board shakes out this way, but I think if Devon Witherspoon is on the board for number 10 with the Eagles, I think they go that way. They're going to go ahead and pick up that cornerback. They lost Garner Johnson. They saw how crazy that secondary was last year. I think you fortify it. A lot of people talking Bijan at 10, but I took Bijan off the board at 8. So if Bijan's there, I think they might go him. But I'm
Right.
sticking with the boy Devon Witherspoon out of Illinois.
All right. I'm just marking that down. So at number 11, Pop is up next. Let's see what we got. We got to check the draft board. We got to do our research. So this is Tennessee at number 11, right?
Yep.
Um, you know, they can use a quarterback. All the quarterbacks are off the board. Got some edge rushers available. I'm going to say they go with our boy Lucas Van Ness out of Iowa.
Very good. Very good. I
Edge
like that.
rusher.
And Pop, remind the people, edge rusher. Okay, cool.
Edge rusher.
Very,
Yeah,
very cool.
my bad.
Very cool.
I mean, I know the Dom Pop audience is educated on these guys.
Yeah, I mean, come
They've been
on, they
breaking
know.
down film just the same as we have, but
They
just in
gotta
case.
know.
We welcome all comers, though.
So at number 12, I guess you got the Houston Texans again here at 12. Yeah, they got that. They got those picks. Oh, the picks from Cleveland.
Yeah, they've got a chance to really you know get things going on the right track there.
Definitely. I think they're going to pair. The Houston's a team that often like to go edge towards the top of the draft, and I think they're going to go ahead and take care of that and go take Nolan Smith at number 12 out of Georgia. The dude just
Makes a lot
absolutely
of sense.
freakish numbers at the combine. You look at places you can quickly make an impact on your roster, and it's always edge and quarterback. So I know that roster is just horrible right now. So they go get a quarterback, they get an edge. Maybe they can start to repeat some of those old Jadavion Clowney, Deshaun Watson days down in Houston.
So you don't think they'd want to pair a receiver with that QB, huh?
There's no receiver you're going to want to take at number 12, in my opinion. I don't think receivers very, very weak in this draft class.
Yeah, one of the mocks has Jackson Smith going to Houston at number 12 out of Ohio State. But
There you
I
go.
hear you. I hear you.
I could
Um,
see it. I personally don't really believe in the in the situation at wide receiver this draft. I don't really think there's a number one anywhere.
yeah, and you really shouldn't. Really shouldn't reach for it. So
Yeah.
got your New York Jets at number 13. I feel like they're gonna. Are they gonna have Aaron Rodgers at quarterback? What's going on? But if they do, they're gonna want to protect him. So I say they go with Paris Johnson Jr. out of Ohio State to, protect whoever's playing quarterback over there and fill a need for the Jets at number 13.
There you go. And who knows if they even have this pick? Things could get interesting.
Oh
That
yeah,
could be Green Bay picking there at number 13 with the whole Aaron Rodgers situation. Maybe that's a deal that gets done on draft night. Maybe that's why we haven't seen things shake out that way quite yet. Number 14, we got the New England Patriots. And I'm going to take a guy that I am pretty surprised is still on the board at this point. That's going to be Broderick Jones out of Georgia. He's going to be my offensive tackle there for the Pats. They just need to shore up that line. They got Mac Jones back there. Hopefully, they actually got a real coach now at offensive coordinator and give them a little bit of extra juice there.
what are you hearing there? Since there are your beloved Pats. Are you hearing that they're going to stick with Mac Jones at this point?
Yeah, I think. I mean, there's literally nothing to hear. The Pats are such an unfun team to follow because Belichick just doesn't say anything, so
Right.
there's nothing to hear. Like it's impossible, in my opinion. I think New England fans are running Mac Jones out of town too fast. You forget he had a pretty good year his rookie year when he had an actual coach in McDaniels. So I like Mac Jones. I've been high on him. I wanted him to come to Washington. Um, so I think he's got a shot to keep the job. I think he's going to keep the job ultimately, unless an Anthony Richardson falls down the board or a Will Levis falls down the board or something crazy falls into their lap. At 14, I think they're going to stick with the boy Mac Jones.
All right. So at 15, I mean, it's getting dicey. We're getting down the board. I was starting to get groggy last night as I was breaking down film. Uh, the Green Bay Packers are next at number 15. They could go a couple of different ways. I'm personally happy this is my last pick because this is stressful.
It
But
is six. It was a lot easier when we were picking at 11 last year. With all that, last year had a lot of big names. This year is not a lot of crazy dynamic talent
yeah,
in the top. It's a lot more utility guys.
I'm gonna go against what you're saying. A lot of people have, Jackson Smith, Nick Nigba out of Ohio State as the first receiver coming off the board. Green Bay definitely needs receivers. I'm gonna just call him Jackson Smith because I butchered his last name. Sorry,
Yeah.
man. But Jackson Smith out of Ohio State, I say he goes next, and we get that first receiver off the board, which kind of what a difference a year makes. Yep. Last year's draft was all about the receivers, and this year not the case. But
So you've got. Let me get this straight. So Green Bay, let's go of Aaron Rodgers to the Jets, and they
yeah,
draft the first receiver they've taken in the first round since the Aaron Rodgers tenure to give to Jordan Love. That is some crazy shade from Green Bay to Aaron Rodgers right there.
There
I
you
like it.
go.
I like it. That's some
That's
drama.
all the more reason. But anyway, it's a couple of the mock drafts have that as the pick. But yeah, I think they need a receiver. I mean, that was what the knock was with them, and who knows? Maybe it's a little bit of a, you know, I mean, they believe in Jordan Love, right?
Yeah.
So they got to give him some weapons to work with.
So things get fun here at number
Now here
16.
we go. Take
Now,
your time.
this
There's
is
time on the clock. Let's do this.
this is hard because there's like four different answers. There's what I want to happen, there's what I think will happen, there's what I think should happen, and there's also we're not doing trades. So I can't say that I don't think we're going to pick at number 16 because in my heart of hearts, that's what I think is going to happen. I think we're going to trade back again. But
It's a good
given the
chance
way
of that.
this
I agree.
given the way this draft board is shaken out, Josh Harris has a gun to my head. He says, "You got to make a pick at number 16. We're not going back. It's all on you, Dominic." I'm taking the boy, Darnell Wright, out of Tennessee, offensive tackle. I think if you had to pick one place like where value and need and talent all intersect, I just think that's the best spot. I would love to get Broderick Jones if he's there. If New England wants to go and take the other tackle, or if he ends up there at 16, I would be
Right.
all over that. He's just huge, and he's a little bit raw, but I think we can hopefully develop the guy. But yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and take Darnell Wright, make it the easy pick. Say we go tackle there at 16.
All right. Very cool. Very cool. I mean, you're not going to argue with offensive tackle. You had a couple scenarios you wanted to run through real quick with regards to Commanders. So why don't we get to that real quick and
Yeah.
wrap
So
up this draft segment?
yeah, let's hit these. Let's hit these fun scenarios. So pop lightning round here. What do you think about a trade back? How would you feel about trading back?
I'm fine with it. I think
Yeah.
more picks the better. I think this is all, uh, there's a lot of chance in the draft. I don't want to call it a total crapshoot because hopefully,
Yeah.
if I think we've done a decent job drafting recently, but I like it.
So
I'd like
it
to stay in the
seems
first round. At some point, maybe get into the early 20s. But if it means getting additional picks, I'm all for it.
yeah, we've seen trading back work for the boys. It's early. It's hard to say it was a total success, but even last year, we were able to have Jahan be a real contributor and pretty much unanimously agreed upon as a total baller. And we were able to get Brian Robinson, who helped contribute for some of those wins down the stretch because of that trade back. And so we've seen it work. Now, if we were to trade back, what do you think about doing a situation where we trade out of the first round, get some picks, and then we trade back into the first round for the boy named Hendon Hooker, as he's kind of looking at that late first round, early second target right here. A lot of things. I've seen some people mocking him to Baltimore, saying like, okay,
Seen that
Lamar
too.
plays for a year and then
I
Hendon
was gonna
Hooker.
bring that up.
But let's say we
If
can
they
get back
draft
in.
Hooker, Lamar's gone.
Yeah,
That's the only thing, right?
yeah,
So, I don't think he's sticking around for that. But
yeah,
I look. Here's how I feel about it. I don't think anything's off the table. I don't think any positions off the table. You hear people talking on the radio. I'd be pissed if they go wide receiver. I'd be pissed if they go running back. I don't think anything's off the table. I really don't. I don't think they're, the probably wide receiver would be, the strongest position group only because I think you've got, two studs there, but at least, but I think everything should be on the table. And if you really, you were going to go there next, I'll steal your thunder. But if a Bijan Robinson is available and you really think he's a difference maker and he's multiple grades above what you have, a weapon like that, I don't, I don't hate making that move personally.
yeah. That's my take on Bijan as well. I think if Bijan's at 16, things start to get really fun, right? Because you can trade back. there's some real value there. You got a total difference maker at 16. Maybe you say, hey, another team wants Bijan more than we do, and they're going to give us so much value. We step back. But let's put some things into perspective here. Antonio Gibson is in his last year of his contract. So he's either going to leave or get paid next year. Are we going to pay him? He's been good. Has he been, you give a running back a second contract good? I don't think so, personally. I think he's proved the exact role that you need from a guy like that, and I think it's time to move on there. So this is a planning for the future pick. You really want to run the ball like that? You want to have those dynamic weapons? Take that shot at Bijan. That's interesting. The last scenario I want to run by you, maybe the kookiest one, but is possible the way the media is talking here. CJ Stroud starts to take a dive down the draft board. At what point do you consider trading up for him? And if he's there at 16, do you pull the trigger?
I mean, it's going to be a little bit of a cop out answer, but if you love the player, and you really think he's that guy now, that's very intriguing for someone like him. I think there's probably no chance he's going to be there at 16. I'm against trading up, but if he's there and, he's a big talent to pass on. So, again, I don't hate it. I don't hate it.
Cool. Yeah, I kind of agree, honestly. I think if you see a situation where he's hanging out around like picks 10 through 12 or something like that, like if you can go up and make a deal with Houston for that number 12 pick, or you can make a deal with, I don't think he makes it past Tennessee at 11 if he is there, but for whatever reason, if he does, or even make a deal with Chicago for that number 9 pick, I would totally do that. That would be my 2 cents. Why not take a shot? I don't think it's going to
So,
cost you a ton.
real quick, a little bit of love to our neighbors, right? What do you think of Hendon Hooker to the Ravens?
I mean,
Got to
as
hear. I want
somebody,
to hear from our Ravens insider in the comments whether he think that would be a good move. Got to hear.
it's interesting. I've been very high on Hendon Hooker. I wouldn't hate if we took Hendon Hooker at 16. Frankly,
Right.
I wouldn't hate it. I've been very high on him. I
I
think
wouldn't hate it either.
this is a guy that you're talking about would be top 3 to top 5 if he doesn't tear his ACL. And he's coming off that ACL tear, and he's not a strictly RPO quarterback. So I'm not that concerned about the ACL tear. Joe Burrow tore his ACL around the same age, and look at what he's doing, right? So I don't know. I would love that for Baltimore. I would hate that for myself because I'm really sick of seeing them just do everything right. But I think that'd be a really smart play for
It'd be a
Baltimore.
smart pick. I think it would
Smart
signal
pick.
the end for Lamar at that point. I mean, I
Yeah.
think generally I am on board with going with Sam Howell and seeing how this plays out for sure. I'm mostly on board with that, but be interesting. Like I said, I don't think anything should be out of play at all.
Yep. Yeah. I agree there. I think you got to just look at the tape and see who you like. And we'll go with set up our bingo card here. Brown's probably going to say something about letting the board come to him, something about all options being on the table, something about trusting their guys and their process. So all that stuff's going to come into play here, and it should be an interesting one. The draft is always fun to watch and keep up
It'd be
with.
great. It'd be even, this was stressful trying to figure out who's going to draft too, but next week breaking down the Commanders' picks and how that top of that board shakes out. That's going to be a lot of fun. So
Yeah, there's always
can't
going to
wait
be
for
some
that.
drama here. I tell you what, no matter what it is, we will have something to say about it. So, guys, if you've stuck with us this far through the mock draft, don't forget, throw us that like, comment, subscribe, so that next week you can see what we got to say about the draft going down and the picks. So, without further ado, let's get into the people's segment, the Che Cazz of the week. Let's hit this
That's
really
right.
quick. So, do you want to tee this one up, Pop? I know you say you had a couple things prepared for it, or you want to let me? You want to let me
Go.
set it
You
up and
tee
then
it
you
up.
can jump
You
back
set
on it.
it.
All right.
You set it
So,
up.
5 players suspended for gambling. This is becoming an increasingly large issue in the NFL. You saw Calvin Ridley got suspended for an entire year. previously, and we had 5 players suspended. I think 2 of the 5 were suspended indefinitely or something like that, which means it'll be at least a year. But Jamison Williams, Quintez Cephas, C.J. Moore, Shaka Tony, and Stanley Berryhill III were all suspended. The Lions, that makes up 4 of the players from the Detroit Lions. They must have been hanging out and just running FanDuel together all night. And then you had Shaka Tony. Unfortunately, the Commanders always find a way to be in these headlines. I don't know what we're going to do without Shaka Tony for 6 games. I'll tell you that
Yeah.
much. Oof. But it's.
I mean,
no
when I was,
disrespect, but
a friend mentioned it to me, and I'm like, it's not a big loss. Luckily, it wasn't. Like I said, I mean, I just hope somebody just hides. Somebody better get to Deron Payne's phone and delete the FanDuel app. Just
put
delete
some
it.
parental
Get it
controls
off
on
of
it, right?
there. John Allen,
Yeah.
delete the app. We don't need this. We don't need
Yeah.
it. It's a
It's
new
not
era.
worth it.
Just delete it.
It's not
Get
worth
rid of
it,
it.
man. And this gambling stuff is so interesting to talk about. I think maybe if we had a slower week, we could spend some more time on it. But it's a wild situation going on with this thing because it's so accessible now. The rules are a little bit outdated, I think, in terms of how accessible it is. You got a guy like Jamison Williams who's at home with a torn ACL all year. I mean, does it really matter if he's playing a little bit of FanDuel? But whatever, the rules are the rules, and they clearly violated some of the most
I think
serious
it
rules
gets
the NFL
dicey.
has.
If you start betting on the NFL, I think it gets dicey, right? I mean, even if you say,
It's
you're
really
betting on
questionable.
different teams, there's just always guilt by association a little bit. I think it's dicey, and the problem now is it's so accessible. It's on your phone in an app. Click a couple buttons, you're in, right? So it's the temptation is there. I really wonder, how do they find out that this was going on?
Yeah,
Are they monitoring these guys' phones? Like, what level of
there's got to be. I wonder if there's a
privacy is being
list.
violated?
I wonder if there's a list with like FanDuel and DraftKings and all that, and they're like, hey, like these IP addresses, these people, these numbers, this information, because they can trace it. It's not that hard. I mean, your credit card is tied to your social security, is tied to your bank account. They can figure all that out. But yeah, it's weird, and it's only going to get weirder. This is only going to become a bigger problem. I wouldn't be surprised if the next time we see the CBA get renewed, if this is going to be a big thing that gets talked about in that situation. So that's all for the Che Cazz of the week. Sorry we didn't get the chance to spend more time on it, but
I
not.
say one
Yeah.
one quick comment makes the Jahan Dotson pick look even better, right? The
There you
trade
go. Yeah,
back.
there you go.
Yeah, we had Jamison Williams suspended, so makes that even look better.
Definitely. So, real quick before we wrap up, we're just going to do an NBA bracket update. Just going to kind of go through this rapid fire. So far, boys are looking pretty good. I'd say pretty good. It's not looking too bad across the board. The Suns ahead of the Clippers 2-1. We both have the Suns. Sixers won the Nets, swept 4-0. That's the Josh Harris effect right there. Get ready for that to be hitting the Commanders next season.
Love it.
Bucks and the Heat tied 1-1. We both picked the Bucks. Obviously, the Giannis back bruise situation is getting a little dicey there, making you a little nervous. Grizzlies tied 1-1. We both picked the Grizzlies again. John Morant with the finger situation, also making you a little nervous.
Yeah,
Really
some of these injuries are tough, right?
On the other side of things, would love to see LeBron win a playoff series after all the talk this year. Anyways, Knicks, the New York Nicholas. The New York Nicholas. You spelled it Nicks. Nicks.
Hey, I was going
So,
fast. Don't worry about the
yeah.
spelling. Just
The New York and Nicola, they are beating Cleveland 2-1. So that's good for me, not so good for you. I had the Knicks, you had the Cavs. The Celtics leading the Hawks 2-1. Both have the Celtics there. They've been making easy work. I know the Hawks got one last night, but I don't think that's going to be close. Nuggets lead the Timberwolves 3-0.
Nuggets looking good.
Nuggets are serious.
People are disrespecting them. They're looking good.
Nuggets are serious. It's a well-built team. We both have the Nuggets there. They are in setting up for a sweep, and the Kings leading the Warriors 2-1. We both have the Warriors. Kings are making a statement. They were the higher seed, but you always you're going to bet with Steph. But they're making a statement. I mean, can you imagine they go from just being the laughingstock of the NFL to knocking off maybe the best
Yeah,
player of this generation.
we're both had Golden State going pretty deep, but I'm just not feeling them this year. There's just something off there.
Yeah,
Some people feel like they're going to bounce back through the playoffs, but I feel like at times it's hard. I know that they're trying to do it, the Lakers are trying to do it, but it's hard to just turn things on. If you're a playing team or a six seed when it comes playoff time. So I wouldn't be shocked,
yeah.
honestly. If the Warriors get knocked out, honestly. What's the latest on Giannis? I mean, is he? It sounds like it's kind of a game time decision type deal, or
Yeah, it's nobody's gonna know. Nobody's gonna know. It's dicey. I don't have the latest information on that. But it's not what you want to see. I tell you that much. It's certainly not in the first series. These guys they get. It's amazing what's going on in the NBA right now, and I think that's a topic for another episode. And I'm gonna sound old here at my wise age of 26, but like these guys take half the season off. They're always hurt. What's going on? They don't play defense.
yeah.
What's going on here? There's something. Michael Jordan was out in the casinos until 6 in the morning and then
But
putting
I don't
up
think
60
Giannis.
points the
I don't
next
think
day.
Giannis is that you're
Giannis
lumping
doesn't
him
quite
in.
fit.
You're lumping him in there. I don't know if I
No, but
like that.
it's all it's not just Giannis. It's across the board. These guys they're getting hurt more. You look at the Kawhis of the
Well, I
world; they're
mean,
getting
I
hurt
think
more. They're barely playing
guys are gonna do everything they can to try to play through injuries from a
at this point
playoff.
in the year. Yeah.
So I think you're mixing things up a bit there, but I need him to bounce
Well,
back. I mean, that's my
that's your
championship
championship
pick
right
there.
there. Yeah,
I
that's
need
why
him to bounce back.
I can't believe you're asking me. I thought you'd be on a direct text thread with this
I
trainer by now. I
I'm
mean, you're
reading
asking me
about it,
what's going
but
on
I
with
can't
Giannis.
get any answers, man. I
Yeah.
might get in there. I might fly out to Milwaukee, just kind of get in there
Yeah.
with my elbow, get that bruise, that
There you
knot
go.
worked out.
Start getting those. That's nasty, man. That's nasty. It gets weird about 37 minutes into the Dollar Pop Pod over here. My goodness. That's a mental image I did not need to see.
Hey, come on! It's
Uh,
his back. It's his lower back.
let's move on, man. I don't yeah, I
I mean,
hope
I may
they
or may not have picked the Bucks to go all the way on FanDuel. That's all I'm saying.
oh goodness. Oh goodness. Yeah, we gotta have you make sure you're not logged into Deron Payne's account. You gotta double check that. Did you
Oh
see
no!
did you see $90 million in the
Take his
balance? If that's the
phone. He
case,
doesn't need his phone. Take his phone.
all right, man. Let's wrap this thing up. It's getting wacky in here. It's I say we've covered all our bases. Hopefully, everybody gets healthy. The playoffs have been super fun to watch. Hopefully, they can everybody can get right, and we can see just the best talent move forward and get to the championship. I got the Celtics. I'm feeling pretty good about that at this point in time. You got the Bucks. Let's see how that goes. Let's wrap this thing up, guys. Thanks for hanging in. I know it was a longer episode this week, but we wanted to give you that real in depth, real serious breakdown of the draft. So I'm glad we got to that. And let's wrap this thing up. We'll see you guys for our post draft pod next week. I've been Dom,
This is Pop.
and thanks again for another great week.